In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your Ronin SC as a phone gimbal, so stay tuned. Hello everyone, this is Sir Z, a public grade school science teacher here in the Philippines. And here in Teach, Train, and Transform, I do lesson videos for our students who are doing their lessons or their studies at home. And also some educational technology stuff for my fellow teachers and some DIY and vlogging on the side. Now let's talk about Ronin SC. For those of you who are not yet familiar with Ronin SC, I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, is the second gimbal that DJI created. It started with Ronin S, which was designed for DSLR cameras. The Ronin SC is the smaller version of Ronin S, this time for mirrorless cameras. But during the recording of this video, Ronin SC is no longer the latest gimbal from DJI. After Ronin SC comes Ronin SC2, followed by Ronin RS, and finally, currently the latest gimbal from DJI, the Ronin RS2. But so far, checking the YouTube, other channels, they are still giving the Ronin SC amazing reviews. So I guess this is still good. And I've also tested it out before this video recording and it is awesome. But anyway, I'm a first-timer user, so I'm still excited, no matter if this is the latest or not the latest model at all for camera gimbals. Alright, so here's the thing. I originally purchased this online to use with my Nikon D5600 DSLR. Yes, I did mention that Ronin SC is for mirrorless cameras, not for DSLRs. But the thing is, the payload or the maximum payload is 2 kilograms and the Nikon D5600 weighs around 400 something grams. So the weight of Nikon D5600 DSLR is still within the maximum payload. However, I no longer have any plans using this camera for the gimbal because everyone knows, and based on my own experience, Nikon cameras are bad when it comes to autofocus. So it sucks. Right now, I am planning to save for a Canon M50. Maybe next year I'm gonna purchase one. But for the meantime, since I don't have any good enough camera for taking videos, I'm planning to use the Ronin as a mobile phone gimbal. Let's go ahead and check the contents of the box containing the DJI Ronin SC. From inside the box, we have first the battery grip. This is the battery for the gimbal and at the same time the handle for the gimbal. The tripod that also serves as an extension grip or handle for the gimbal when it is attached at the bottom of the battery grip. The Ronin SC gimbal itself. A DJI phone holder. 3 pieces of control cables. Camera riser just in case you need one. A lens support. Some screws and a couple of Allen wrenches. A Type-C to USB adapter. A quick release plate. So as you can see, my cell phone with the cell phone case is already attached to the quick release plate. Instead of using the DJI phone holder, I use a cheap phone holder that I purchased for my camera tripod when I'm using my cell phone as the camera. And the reason why I added the case for the cell phone is for added weight, because of course the gimbal is for cameras and cell phones are too light, and at the same time I also use my own cheap phone holder because of the distance between the camera and the quick release plate. The closer the camera or the load to the quick release plate will help in balancing this camera on the gimbal. Now let's go to the setup. Before we deal with the actual gimbal, you need to understand first the things on this plate and how to use it. First, right beneath the plate, there is a marking for heavy load, and this one is for light load. In other YouTube videos, when they are attaching their camera on the gimbal, they advise that you start somewhere at the middle and then you adjust the weight based on the weight distribution to get the balance. But in my case, since I'm using a cell phone, which is lighter than a camera, I went straight away to attach this at the light load mark. Next, aside from the loads, you will also see this note or this mark that says lens, where the lens of your camera should be pointing. I recommend that you use the rear camera of your cell phone because it's a lot better compared to the camera that we use for selfie mode. Also, on the quick release plate, this is the knob that you will use to mark the position of the quick release plate once it is attached on the gimbal and you already found the right position for the balance. So you will be able to take this plate off from the gimbal anytime without having to go through all the process of balancing and looking for the right spot. Time to assemble the gimbal. We already attached a tripod to the battery grip, so that's done. Spread open the legs of the tripod and let this sit on the top of your desk securely. Go get the gimbal and slide it on the top of the battery grip just like that. Lock it in place by pushing this lever forward. Now we got our Ronin SC assembled. The next step is to do manual balancing of the axis. Unlock all the 3 motors and arms of the gimbal. This is the roll motor, the tilt motor, and on top of the gimbal's body is the pan motor. To unlock the tilt arm, look for this lock that is right beneath the tilt motor. Unlock it. Next is to unlock the roll motor on the other side. This one. Unlock it. And the last one you need to unlock is for the pan motor. You will find the lock for the pan motor on the top of the gimbal right above the DJI logo. Unlock it. Once all 3 axes has been unlocked, position the gimbal just like how I am doing. This is the small joystick that you will use to manually control the gimbal. Have it face towards your direction. Get the roll motor to point towards your direction. Lift the tilt motor to the right. Lock the pan motor as well. Leave this one unlocked. To connect the quick release plate with your phone already attached to the gimbal, slide it on this platform from the front going towards the back. As you can see, I already set this knob as the right position for the quick release plate on this platform. Tighten the knob that is underneath the platform to hold the quick release plate in place. We are now ready to do the manual balancing. The first one is the forward tilt balancing. Tilt your camera to point downward. Your goal is to keep this phone balanced, resting on the phone holder while attached to the quick release plate. If not, all you gotta do is loosen this knob that locks the arm to the tilt motor. Just push it forward or backward depending on where the weight is heavier. If it's tilting forward, the heavier end is this side. Just pull the arm backward. If it's tilting back, the heavier end is at the back. So you just need to adjust the arm by pushing it forward. Once you got the balance correct, tighten again this knob to hold this arm in place. Next one is the upward tilt balancing. Turn your camera to point upward and see if you need to adjust it again. Once it's all set, reposition the arm as before and lock the tilt motor. Next is to balance the rotation. Unlock the rotation motor. See if your gimbal will be tilting right or towards the left. If it's tilting towards the right, adjust the weight of your phone, move it towards the left. You can either adjust the cell phone towards the left or try to adjust it by moving the platform attached to this arm. To do that, unlock again this lever holding the quick release plate and then move this platform either left or right depending on where the weight is heavier. Once you get the roll balance, lock again the roll motor. The last part of manual balancing is the pan balance. Make sure that the tilt and the roll motors are both locked. Unlock the pan motor. Slightly tilt your gimbal either to the right or to the left. If by tilting the gimbal starts to spin, that means either the right or the left side is heavier than the other. To correct that, loosen this knob and then adjust this arm. Either you push it towards that end or pull it back towards this end. You will know that the pan is balanced if you tilt your gimbal and it's no longer spinning around. Next step is to calibrate it using the DJI Ronin app that you need to download on your cell phone from the Google Play Store or from the Apple app. You will be required to create an account. You need to do that in order to use the app to connect and control your gimbal. Make sure it is that all axes are unlocked. The tilt motor, the roll motor, the pan motor. Switch your gimbal on by pressing and holding the power button, which is at the right side of the gimbal. Of course, your right side while holding the gimbal with your hand. The 3 lights will light up and you will hear a chime sound. The gimbal will automatically position itself. To use the DJI Ronin app to calibrate the balance of your gimbal, on the app, tap the button that says Balance Test. You will see a blue button that says Begin Test, but don't press it yet. Tilt your gimbal slightly to the right or to the left and hold it in place when you begin the test. Once the balance test is in progress, you will notice that your gimbal is now moving on its own. Once the balance test is done, you will receive a notification on your app that will tell the conditions of the pan, the roll, and the tilt balance. Mine says excellent on all axes, pan, roll, and tilt. Now you can use your Ronin SC camera gimbal as a phone gimbal. Launch any mobile camera app that you have on your cell phone and then use this gimbal as creative as you can in making and creating videos. If this video was able to help you out on something about using the gimbal as a mobile phone gimbal, I appreciate if you will leave me a like and support this channel by subscribing, and I'll be looking forward to see all of you beautiful people once again next time. This is Sir Z, class dismissed.